All right, everyone, welcome back to Koil Kol Shira in partnership with Bezov.org and, of course, Shiva Terah Shimon. Okay, I hope everyone had a beautiful Purim. We had an amazing Purim in Eretz Yisrael. It was what we called the Purim Sholosh. It was something mamash me'ein olam haba. It was something so special. Baruch Hashem. I hope all of our listeners had a good Purim, and now we're getting ready, and it's also Shloshim Yom Kodim Chag Pesach, and we know that it's a very important thing to learn the Hilchas Pesach, Halachas of Pesach. There are so many about the way the wheat grows, and the way you cut it, and then how you collect it, and how you grind it, and how you make the matzahs, and all of that, and then all the whole thing of getting rid of the chametz and beer chametz and all of that. Where did my screen go? The screen went away. You all right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and all of the beautiful things of that we have of Pesach. And we also have the idea of Kimcha the Pischa. Right, the idea of Kimcha the Pischa is a very important thing. Also, giving money and making sure that people have what they need for Pesach. We say the whole Lachmanya called Dichmin Yaitz Vayakhel. Right, we say that we're inviting everybody in to eat. But are we really doing that? Are we really inviting the people in? I mean, you have your doors locked, and and like who's coming to your house? So the main idea is you give the kimcha the pischa, and you support the people that they have what they need for Pesach. So therefore, you can sit down at your seder and you can enjoy your seder and not worry about that the people are going to be and all that, because you already took care of them. So it's a very important thing. That's something that's very, very important. Okay, and let's see. So we have this week is Parshat Vayakhel. It's a very amazing parsha. When did this parsha take place? This parsha took place the day after Yom Kippur, when Moshe Rabbeinu came down from Har Sinai again with the Luchei Shniyas after we got the atonement for the golden calf. Right, right. That's when this actually took place. Now, there's something amazing to understand. Vayakhel, Moshe's kol adasme. He gathered together all the people. I want to ask you a simple question. He gathered together the people. I mean, they weren't in different places. We were all in one place, right? We were all there. We were all in the desert. We were all under the clouds of glory. We were there. So what does it mean? Vayakhel Moshe's kol. What did he have to do? Did anyone ever think of that idea? Any question of that? Like what was going on? It's a beautiful idea. He gathered everybody together. It also falls in suit with the Megillah we just read last week, where Esther Malka says, "Leikin Neisus Kol HaYudim." Here, Moshe Rabbeinu Vayakhel Moshe's Kol HaDas. He got everyone together, and that's where maybe perhaps Esther Malka got the idea. Many ideas. The Sfarim bring down a beautiful idea that really, that when it came to the Ched HaEgel, who was really involved in the Ched HaEgel? Was it really the Jewish people, or was it really the Erev Rav? So the main idea is that it was really the Erev Rav. Those were the converts that came out of Mitzrayim, right? Let's remember, who were these Erev Rav? These were the Erev Rav that wanted to come out of Mitzrayim. Moshe Rabbeinu asked HaKadosh Baruch Hu, should we take out these Erev Rav? Hashem said, I don't think that's a good idea. But if you want to take them, you could take them. Take them at your own risk. Moshe Rabbeinu said, I'll take them. Well, all right. Well, the Erev Rav really were the ones that caused us a lot of problems. They really caused us a lot of problems. And a lot of the problems that we had and that Moshe Rabbeinu had to deal with was because of his decision to take the Erev Rav out. Had he have not taken them out, who knows what things would have been? But he did take them out. Now it says, so if they were the ones involved in the Ched HaEgel, they were the ones involved in the sin of the golden calf. So then why are we punished? Well, what did we have to do with it? If they were involved in that, And what did we have to do? And the problem was we were there and we were standing around, and we didn't oppose what they were doing. Now, if you don't oppose something, that means you agree with it. And therefore we were counted as if we were involved in the Cheder Egel, Chas v'Sholom, but really it was really them, but we didn't do anything about it. So it's a very amazing idea. So now look, so it says, Vayakhel Moshe's kol das bnei Yisrael. What does it mean he gathered the people? He gathered the people, he gathered the Jewish people aside from the Erev Rav. He separated them. Okay, now I want kol das bnei Yisrael. I want our people here. The Erev Rav, you keep them out. Similarly so, when it came to we discussed now the Davis of the Mishkan, kol nediv leiv. You have to give kol nediv leiv. So we know that really Moshe Rabbeinu did not take any money and any donations from the Erev Rav. He did not take any money from them. He only took pure money from the Jewish people. Isn't that an amazing idea, right? He took only the money from the Jewish people. Now let me ask you a question. Why is it so important that he took the money from the Jewish people? Why is that? What is the problem? Well, the other money is tainted money, right? We know, for example, if a person, chas v'sholom, if this money that was earned on Shabbos, right? So many Rosh Yeshivas or Rabbanim would not want that money to be part of their shul, to be part of their yeshiva, right? We know that there was the great Baba Sali. The Baba Sali had a yeshiva, and the Baba Sali would get donations from a lot of people, but he would be very careful to what he would use the money for. So in other words, money that he knew came that was donated to the yeshiva, that was clean money. He knows that the person is an honest businessman. He knows that the person has his business closed on Shabbos, and he's an Erlicha person. So that money he would use to pay for the Bachrim. He would use that money to pay the Rebbeim in the yeshiva. He would use that money to buy Svarim for the yeshiva. But monies that he got, there wasn't such clean money. So what did he have to do? He used that money to pay bills. He used that money to pay the bills. He used that money to pay the electric bill. He used that money to pay the taxes. So whatever he had to pay, he used that money. He did not use that money for Torah, because again, the money to use for Torah has to be pure. Now, what was the reason why did it have to be so pure? If you notice something, the Mishkan never fell into the hands of our enemies. The Mishkan never got taken by anybody. It wasn't taken by Plishtim. It wasn't. The Mishkan itself was pure, because the money that was used to build the Mishkan was all pure money. And let me ask you a real good question now, and I want to see if anyone has an answer to this question. Where did we get our money from? We had money, right? The Jewish people had money. Where did we get our money from? We got our money from the Mitzrayim, right? We didn't have any money of our own, right? We were enslaved to Mitzrayim for 210 years. Now, if we were enslaved to Mitzrayim for 210 years, what money did we have of our own? So that means the money that we gave, was that clean money? Or was that money from the Mitzrayim? What is this? And what makes our money any better than the money from, let's say, the Erev Rav? What is the difference? That money, it's the same source. So this goes back, we have to go back to the time of Yosef HaTzadik. Right? We have to go back to the time of Yosef, when Yosef HaTzadik was ruling Mitzrayim. He was the viceroy of Mitzrayim. So what happened when Yosef was the viceroy of Mitzrayim? He said that he interpreted the dream of Parah, and he had said that for 7 years we'll have plenty, and 7 years there'll be famine. Right? Remember that, right? He had the 7 years and the 7 years. And he told Parah, for the first 7 years, what we're going to do is we're going to collect the money. We're going to collect the what do you call the produce, and we're going to collect the wheat. And we're going to store it. We're going to build storehouses, and then we'll have it for the next 7 years, or the 7 years of the famine. So what happened was the Mitzrayim also collected wheat, and they also put it away. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu made it that whatever they put away rotted. Only what Yosef HaTzadik put away, that was pure. That stayed good. It didn't go bad. Now, the Mitzrayim came to Yosef, and they needed food. They needed the grain. So Yosef HaTzadik sold them grain. They came back. They needed more grain. He sold them more grain. Then what happened was they were running out of money. Right? He was charging a pretty high price. They ran out of money. So what did he say? Okay, fine. You have animals? Yeah, we have animals. So, okay, so sell me. I'll exchange for you food. You give me your sheep. Give me your goats. Give me your horses. Give me your livestock. And they did. They sold. They gave more animals and more animals. Meanwhile, the what do you call it? The coffers of Parah were becoming were increasing tremendous, because they listen. They took all the money of Mitzrayim. He took all the animals of Mitzrayim. Then they came back. And they said, we need food. So he said, okay. Well, you'll sign over your properties. Sell your property. You want more food? I'll sell you. Give me your properties. So they all brought in the deeds to their houses, and they signed over. They did a transfer of the deed. Then they transferred it over to Parah. Now Parah owned all the land. He owned all of the real estate in Mitzrayim. So first he had all the money. Then he had all the animals. Then he had all of the real estate. Then they came back again after some time, and they said, we need food. So what did Yosef HaTzadik said? Yosef HaTzadik said, I'll tell you what, you have to sell yourselves. You'll become slaves to Parah. So all of the Mitzrayim sold themselves as slaves to Parah. All right? Now listen to this. Now, who was Parah? Where did Parah come from? Parah comes from Chum. Right? Noach had 3 sons, Shem, Chum, and Yafes. Right? Chum is where the Torah tells us where Parah came from. Chum was cursed. What was he cursed for? That he's going to be slaves to the Jewish people. So that means really Parah, he owned everything. Parah owned everything because of Yosef HaTzadik. He had all of the money. He had all of the livestock. He had all of the people. He owned everything. But really, he himself is really a slave because he's from Chum. That's why the whole point why Parah wanted to enslave us. Why did Parah want to enslave us? Because Parah knew, he saw we were increasing too much, and then we would realize the claim that we are really the master and he's really the slave. And that's what he was scared of. So what does he do instead? He figures out a plan that he'll enslave us. He will enslave us. Via him enslaving us, we won't realize the claim that we are really the master and he is the slave. It's like the story from Rabbi Nachman. We had the exchanged children. Right, the story of the exchanged children. Right, there was it's a most beautiful story in Sipurei Maisius where you had a what do you call it? There was a king and a queen that they were expecting, and in the same palace there was a maidservant, and she was also expecting, and it was an amazing thing that they both gave birth at the same time. The maidservant and the queen. The maidservant and the queen gave birth at the same time. Now the
Prince and the Pauper story.
No, this is This is the story from Rabbi Nachman. Okay, here,
Lahavdil.
No. This is a very, very deep story. Very, very, very deep story. So what happened was the what do you call it? The concubine that was there, whatever, not the concubine, the what do you call it? The lady that was helping to deliver the deliverance. Okay, so she decided that she was going to do something cute. She wanted to do it, made an exchange. She took the child that was really the slave, that was the servant's child, and she exchanged it with the prince. She gave the prince to the maidservant, and then the maidservant's baby to the princess, to the queen. And they grew up, and the real prince was always tormented via the imposter, because he was not really the prince, but he made himself he was really the prince. Similarly to the story here, what we're saying with Parah was really the slave, and we were really the prince, and he figured out a way to enslave us. Now, we realize we have to understand something. Now, we know something very interesting. We know that while we were in Mitzrayim, Shevet Levi, was not enslaved. You ever wonder why? Why wasn't Levi enslaved? Why did Parah let Levi get off the hook? Why were they off the hook? Why were we all enslaved, but Levi was not enslaved? Why? Because Yosef had had a law. And Yosef's law was that the priests would not be in charge, would not be responsible to pay for their food, and they would not have the same responsibilities of everybody else. So that means the priests of Mitzrayim. Okay, again, Yosef he had to do things on an even platform. He couldn't say that, the Jewish people, we won't, our priests, because we know that Levi is considered the Levium, they're the priests, right? The Kuna comes from Levi, right? So he couldn't do it. So what he did was he worked out that all priests would not have to pay. Now, while we were in Mitzrayim, we know Levi wasn't enslaved, but we were all enslaved. Now, but was it right that we were enslaved? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It was just what Parah did. And again, let's remember something. All this really all happened. It was really Hashem's plan. I'm just describing to you how it played out. But really, we know that when it was when Avraham Avinu was by the Bris Bein Absarim, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Avraham Avinu that your children will be Arba Meir Shonim and V'inu Oisam, but they'll go out Yetze B'Rechush Gadol, and you'll be enslaved for 400 years in Mitzrayim. However, you're going to go out with a great wealth. You'll go out with great wealth. Now the question is, and we know when we were in Mitzrayim, after Makis Choshech, we know by Makis Choshech we went snooping around the people's houses to see where everything was, and we asked them to borrow. Hashem said, take the money from them. Borrow, see what's going on, and then when you ask them for it, they'll say, we don't have it. Oh, we'll say, I know you do. You have it. It's in that drawer over there. I think you have plenty of money in that drawer. I think you have plenty of silver over there. I think you have plenty of gold over there. And this is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu did for us. But now, when HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to us, he said, please take the money out, Meireya, from your friends. Well, what do you mean, Meireya, from your friends? What kind of friends? What? We're considered friends? We're considered the Mitzrayim that drowned our children, that enslaved us, that tortured us for 210 years. How come the Torah calls them our friends? Can that possibly be? Can it be that when we were attacked by the Kazakhs, right, and the Haidasaks and all of these monsters, and during the Spanish Inquisition, all these things, can we say that these people were our friends? What friends? Take the money from your friends? So the understanding is like this. What does it mean from your friends? People like yourselves. In other words, take the money from only people that are slaves, were enslaved to Parah, the same way you're enslaved. That's what it means, a friend. However, don't take the money from the priests of Mitzrayim. In other words, if you see that there's a priest, he's such a galach from Mitzrayim, you cannot take his money, because that's rightfully his money. The money that belongs to all the other Mitzrayim really is the money of Parahs in the first place. Because really they were enslaved to Parah, and everything that they have really belongs to Parah. But be careful, the money that you take, don't take it from any of the priests, because that's rightfully their money. And if you take that money, that would be considered stolen money. It's amazing understanding what we're talking about here, and how important it was. So now when it came to the Erev Rav, the Erev Rav, they were not enslaved. So they didn't earn any money. In other words, they were considered slaves, but they were not enslaved. We were not we were really the prince, but we were enslaved. So really, the money that we took from Mitzrayim, was really our money. In other words, we earned that money. What did Parah do originally? When Parah started this whole thing to enslave us, what did he do? He called up, he put signs up and said there's a very, very important project going on in Pizzas and Ramses, a very important building project. We're having a very big, we're going to be building 2 new cities, and this is very important for Mitzrayim. And Parah went down there himself, and he laid some bricks. And he had all the ministers, and they came and laid bricks. And of course, the Jewish people, we came as long. Of course, there's something going on. They're our host nation. So of course, since we're there, we'll go down and we'll work also. And then what Parah did was he figured out that the Egyptians, that the ministers will stop coming in, and Parah, of course, stopped coming in. And we kept coming back. Why were we coming back? We were paid. He paid us. Every week we were getting a nice paycheck when we went down there. This was great. And he had taskmasters, and he set up the taskmasters, but they were paying us. And then Parah decided that now we're going to be enslaved, and he's not going to be paying us. And that's what really happened over here. In other words, he tricked us into being slaves. He tricked us into this. And really, we did not go in there voluntarily to be slaves. We went in there because we were making money. Not only that, these Mitzrayim kept good records. That if Reuven, he produced 500 bricks a day, they would pay them by every brick that they would produce. So, we're all very conscientious people, right? The Jewish people are very conscientious. So we produced a lot of bricks. And then when we realized that we were enslaved, we weren't making as many bricks. But you know what they did? They checked their records. And they said, hey, Reuven, today you only produced 200 bricks. Last week when I was paying you, you produced 500 bricks. And that's when they got beaten. And they got beaten like that. So really the money that we got from Mitzrayim was really rightfully our money, and perhaps we were even underpaid for the time that we worked for 210 years. Now, when we came to Kriyas Yamsuf, we know that the booty of Kriyas Yamsuf was even greater than the money that we took out of Mitzrayim. So you would have thought that maybe we should go bring that money back. It belongs to we got our money. But really, no, it's not true. Because really, they owed us much, much, much more. And all the money that we got from them was all so that HaKadosh Baruch Hu would not have to hear Avram Avinu complain to him that you told me that my children would be enslaved for 400 years, but then we're going to go out Rechush Gadol. But Avram Avinu said, I know that Rechush Gadol is going to be what? It's going to be for the Mishkan. And I know that money has to be pure money. It can't be money. It cannot be money that's tainted. And therefore, he said that you'll take the money out from only Mitzrayim, but not from the priests of Mitzrayim. It's a beautiful understanding to understand really what this money was. How is our money pure? How is our money pure? So this really helps us understand how our money was pure. Okay, now when it came to the Mishkan, so let me ask you another question now. We know when Yaakov Avinu went down to Mitzrayim, he planted those beautiful cedar trees. He brought big cedar. He brought them down to Mitzrayim, and he planted those trees in Mitzrayim. And he told us we knew to take those trees out with us, right? We made the Adonim, and we had to crush them. They were very big, very wide wood planks that were used to make the crushing, those what do you call the walls that made the walls of the Mishkan. Now we took that down with us. We took that out with us. Yaakov Avinu saw that he knew that Avraham Avinu was promised that we're going to go down to Mitzrayim, but we're going to go out the Berechush Gadol. So Yaakov Avinu already prepared. When he went down to Mitzrayim, he took these trees with him, and he planted the trees in Mitzrayim, so they grew good over the next 200 years. So they grew good. And then when we took them out, they were big, beautiful trees. We carried these trees out with us. Now let me ask you another question. We were all slaves. How is it possible that we had such talents to make such things so precise and so beautiful for the Mishkan? I mean, where did we learn how to do such carpentry? Where did we learn how to do such fine weaving work? Where did we learn the idea to do work with gold? We were goldsmiths, silversmiths, coppersmiths to make the kiyar, the beautiful kiyar. How did we know how to do these things? So the Svarim say that really the same way Yaakov Avinu prepared for us the trees, he also prepared that we would learn certain trades, and we had certain trades, and we taught each other these trades, and we had these trades because again it was all to prepare to make the Mishkan, to make this beautiful Mishkan where HaKadosh Baruch Hu dwelled with Klal Yisrael, where the Shechina Kedosha came and the Shechina Kedosha dwelled in the Mishkan. And we know, like we learned the idea that all Torah was given through the Mishkan. The Mishkan was a portable Har Sinai. Remember, we learned that idea. The Mishkan was a portable Har Sinai. The same way HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the Torah, he gave the Torah mitaych eish, with a fire. That's why we learned from the Ramban. We learned the idea that's why the kruvim, those beautiful kruvim, the cherubs had to be gold, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu would speak between the kruvim. So that way the words were going out mitoich eish, the same way when it was on Har Sinai. Okay, so now this Mishkan that we built. So now we understand how did we have people that knew how to the trades, the craftsmanship to be able to make the Mishkan. We understand that. How? Because again, Yaakov Avinu, the same way he prepared the tree, those beautiful trees, the atzei shitim that we would need to make the Mishkan. So he also taught us that we should have the trades that we'll need to make the holy Mishkan, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu can dwell with Klal Yisrael. It's such a beautiful idea, the Mishkan, how beautiful the Mishkan was. So now we went over the idea of Moshe Rabbeinu, that he spoke, that he got together the great assembly of Jews, and we know that was the day after that he brought down the second set of Lucas, which was Har Sinai. He tells the Jewish people here very important things, to keep the Shabbos and build the Mishkan, but not to build the Mishkan on Shabbos. It is forbidden to make a fire on Shabbos. Wow. Let me ask you a question. Why do you think fire was separated from all the other 39 tasks? Why does the Torah indicate Loisavaru eish b'chol ma'ishveiseichem b'yom Shabbos. But why doesn't it say the other one? Maybe you shouldn't do borer on Shabbos. Maybe you shouldn't do tzev on Shabbos. The color. Why would it talk about these other malachas of Shabbos? Right? Losh. Or the dash, all the different things, the 39 different malachas of Shabbos. Why is it singling out? Why is it singling out fire? Rabbi Yehuda, did you have an understanding why it single out fire? You ever want to suggest something? Anyone want to suggest something? Then I'll suggest something to you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created everything in 6 days, right? Everything was created in the Sheshis Yemei Bereshis. Right, and on Shabbos, HaKadosh Baruch Hu rested. Where was fire? When did fire come into the play? Only on Matzah Shabbos. Right, on Matzah Shabbos, Adam was able to get the idea to take the stones, to rub them together, and he was able to make a fire. Fire only came after Shabbos, so we may have thought that since fire is not in the Sheshis Yemei Bereshis, the 6 days of creation, and fire is something separate than that because it came after Shabbos. So the Torah is telling us, no, it's included in that too. You can't do that also. Now, as far as when it comes to a fire, the Sfarim all talk about this. The main thing is on Shabbos we don't get angry. You shouldn't get angry on Shabbos. We shouldn't get angry Erev Shabbos. We know Erev Shabbos is a big Yetzer Hara to stare the shalom in the house. Right? That's why things always going topsy-turvy when it comes to on Friday. When it comes to Erev Shabbos, right? There's always things in the house flying back and forth and is asking, oh, where'd you put my shoe? Where's my shirt? Where's this? Oh, how come there's not enough hot water? Where the towel? All the stuff that goes on. All the stuff that goes on. Why? Because the whole idea of Shabbos was supposed to have shalom. Shabbos is supposed to be shalom and lo yisevaru eish. That means you're not supposed to get fahitz. You're not supposed to get angry when it comes to the Shabbos. Why? Because Shabbos was supposed to be tranquil. Shabbos is about tranquility. That's why there's a big Yetzer Hara to try to make us get upset at people, to stare at, to disturb the shalom. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is lo yisevaru eish b'chol ma'ishveiseichem. And that's Erev Shabbos, and of course on Shabbos itself. Rabbi Nachman says that when Shabbos comes and every day he's supposed to say Amash l'chol tenuasa to asi v'chol to us call Basi and everyone else that's totally be. I give over all of my actions to you, Hashem. You control my actions. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I give you control of my family. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I give you control over everything. Why should I get upset then? If HaKadosh Baruch Hu is running everything, which He's doing it anyway, Hashem is running everything. Hashem gives everybody and everything the ability to live, to do anything. It's all coming me'ez Hashem, so it's all coming me'ez Hashem. So then why should I give over the control to Hashem? Let me realize I give it over to you, Hashem, so then I don't have to worry what happened. I don't have to worry what he said in my house, or my wife did, my husband did. I don't have to worry what the kids did. Because again, I realize it's your running it, Hashem. Why should I be upset? Why should I be upset? Rather, I can be very happy and be tranquil on Shabbos if I give all the control over to Hashem, because Hashem has the control anyway. Anyway, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has the control. So if HaKadosh Baruch Hu has the control, of course, we should be able to give over the control to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay, now Moshe Rabbeinu tells the Jewish people they should go home and bring back whatever they want to donate to the Mishkan, like we said, right? Whenever we have a Nediva slave, whatever we wanted to give. HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't want us to give him the extras. He wanted us to give whatever was important to us, whatever we felt that was so special. This is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted us to give him. He didn't want just the donations from us. He wanted whatever was special. This is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu asked that we should take, that we should give to him, like we spoke about. Okay, now the Jews, what we did was we brought back everything so quickly to build the Mishkan, and even more. This is an amazing idea, right? We gave even more. Where Moshe Rabbeinu said, "Okay, that's enough." Could you imagine that? Can anyone imagine today? There's a Meisid, right? There's an organization that sends out an email. Thank you, everybody. You sent in enough money. We have enough for the project, and thank you. You don't send in any more. Could you imagine that today? I don't think you'll find that today. I don't think we'll find that. But Moshe Rabbeinu said, listen, we're collecting the money for the Mishkan, and we gave the money so quickly. Everyone wanted so desperately to have that connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So we gave even more. We gave everything so quickly. Now, we know that Betzalel and Eliav were the ones that were chosen to be destined, that would run the project of the Mishkan. They would run the project of the Mishkan, and they were the overseers. And we know Betzalel is Betzel Kel. Betzalel is in the shade, in the shade of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He was in the shade of Moshe Rabbeinu. He was looking out and learning and soaking up all the information to know what to do. The Sfarim say that really Betzalel oversaw everyone else's project, and he made sure that they were doing everything properly, how it should be. But they say that the holiest, the kli that we had in the Mishkan was what? Was the Aron. It was the Aron. The Aron was the holiest of all of the kelim. The Aron held in it the luchas shnias, the second set of luchas that Moshe Rabbeinu brought down the day before Vayakhel, this parsha. And it also contained the broken luchas. Moshe Rabbeinu collected the broken luchas, and he put the stone that was ground that was there, the broken stone that was also in the Aron. And Moshe Rabbeinu put a sefer Torah of the Torah that was in the Aron, and he also put a tzintzenes of the man. He took a little jar of the man, and he put that in there, that we should have a remembrance of the beautiful miracle that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us food to eat in the desert, right? That we would have this lechem abirim. This is the food that the malachim eat, whatever that means. Malachim eat. I don't know what malachim really eat. I don't know if they have to eat, but this is what Chazal tell us. This is the lechem abirim, the lechem of the malachim. And this is what we had. So we have a tzintzenes. Now this Aron was made by Betzalel, and that's why he was the holiest one. And that's why so that's an important thing. And Eliav also was able to know how to do the what do you call it? He was able to oversee the craft of the weaving and everything else. We know that they had a special thing. They would weave that they had a special talent of weaving the goat hair. Right, Rashi tells us that they actually wove the hair of the goat while it was on the goat. They was able to do it while it was on the goat itself. And before they would even shave it off, it was a special talent that they were able to do, and how to do this intricate weaving of the gold and the colors and all of the different things to make the coverings for the Mishkan, to make the holy parachas, right? This was very, very, very fine weavings. Okay, very fine very things that were done. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu said He gave us, of course, extraordinary wisdom in order to know how to do it. And again, like we said, that Yaakov Avinu told us that we were going to have to know these things, and we prepared them. Now it says that the women also donated their copper mirrors. So here's an interesting thing. The women, the Torah introduces the kiyar. The kiyar nechoshes, right? The kiyar nechoshes, that was the copper wash basin. The copper wash basin that was in the entrance of the Mishkan, where the Kohanim, before they did any avodah, when they came in the morning, first they had to do was wash their hands and their feet. And once they washed their hands and their feet, they were able to proceed to put on the big day kahuna. They were able to proceed to be able to do their avodah in the Mishkan, in the Beis HaMikdash. Now, this kiyar was made via the mirrors of the ladies. And back then, They didn't have mirrors like we have today, glass mirrors, right? They didn't have mirrors made out of glass. What they do is they would take the copper, they would shine up the copper so much, they would shine it, so that way the copper would be so it would be able to be like a mirror. And they use these mirrors. What did they use these mirrors for? Rashi tells us what they use them for, to beautify themselves, so that way they should look attractive to their husbands when they came home. Now, listen, let me ask you something. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't want to take these mirrors. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't want to take these mirrors. He asked Hashem, should I take them? Hashem says, yes, I want you to take them. They're very, very precious. And we'll use those to make I want you to take that copper and make the kiyah from that copper. We would have thought that maybe it was something used for taiva, and therefore maybe we wouldn't want to use it. Adarabba, we see the idea how beautiful the mitzvah of Pru Revu is to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The mitzvah of Pru Revu is so special to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And again, we were able to reproduce in Mitzrayim, where HaKadosh Baruch Hu made us into the nation that we were. And these ladies used these mirrors in order to beautify themselves, because don't forget, when the husbands came home each day, they were beaten and they were worked, they were overworked, and they were tortured. And you know, they would be so, at night they would be so tired. But the ladies made themselves so attractive that the husbands still they mustered up the ability to be with the wives, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu appreciated that so much. And those very mirrors were used because, again, when you perform any mitzvah we do for Hashem, and you do it for the right reasons, HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what's really in the heart. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows that in the heart of the ladies, when they were making themselves beautiful, was only so they would be able to produce the Jewish nation, and therefore HaKadosh Baruch Hu appreciated those mirrors so much. Okay, all the different parts of the Mishkan is in the Parsha are actually completed. They actually finished the Mishkan. We know that the Mishkan was actually set up on Rosh Chodesh Nisan, right? The Mishkan was set up on Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Now this Shabbos is also Shabbos Parah, right? This week was Shabbos Parah, right? We have the 4 Parshias, right? We have the Parsha of Shkolim, we have Zocha, we have Parah, and then we have our Parsha of Chodesh, right? We do Parsha of Chodesh. Now we're going to do by Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Now I want to ask you a question. Why would you not want to do Parshas Parah after Parshas Chodesh? Why is the we know why we do the Shkolim before we do Zocha? Because again, we learned that Haman introduced the 10,000 talents of silver to Achashverosh, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu said that no, my children gave the Shkolim beforehand. So we understand why we read Parshas Shkolim before we read Parshas Zocha, before Purim. I understand that. And that's why we have the minute to give the Machzas HaShekel on Purim, before Purim, because again, we want to always make sure we gave our Shkolim before the Shkolim of Haman. But now let me ask you a question. Why would it not be that we would do it first, read Parshas HaChodesh, and then we would read Parshas Parah? Let the first month come in, then we would purify ourselves with the ash of the Parah Aduma. We know that we had 9 Parah Adumas so far. There were 9 Parah Adumas in Klal Yisrael, and the 10th one's going to be in Meretz Hashem with Mashiach Tzidkeinu B'Karav Yameinu Mamish. Okay, we're going to have the 10th Parah Aduma. Today they claim that we have in the Shomron, in Samaria, we have three. I think there are 3, or maybe there's even more, but I think there's at least 3 of them of eligible animals for a Parah Aduma. We have them. I know that they came from Texas and they were flown into Eretz Yisrael, and they're very, very strict. In other words, the law of the Parah Aduma is that the Parah has to be a red heifer with no other hairs on it. It has to all be the same color. If it has any other color hair, it's disqualified. Another rule is, if you use the Parah Aduma for anything, any malacha whatsoever, it disqualifies the Parah Aduma. So that means if you had this animal, and you decided that you were carrying your knapsack and it was a little too heavy, and you put the knapsack down on the animal. You put the upside down. Now you can't use that as a Parah Aduma anymore because you used it for your own personal benefit. It was used for some kind of work. You're not allowed to use it. But again, I ask you the question, why was Parah Aduma, why is not Parshas Chodesh and then Parah Aduma? Right? Anyone have an answer for that? Why do you think we have Parshas Parah Aduma? We read Parshas Parah before we read Parshas Chodesh. So if no one answers, I'll give you an answer. Okay, here we go. We know when someone, Parah Aduma is about our tahara, right? To purify us from the tumah of tumah's mess. The aviyah avodah tumah is tumah mess, right? The greatest level of tumah is when it comes to tumah's mess, when you come in contact with a corpse. If you come in contact with a corpse, then that's the aviyah avodah tumah. Any of us today, all of us today, are tamei tumas meis because we don't have the Parah Aduma, right? You can become tamei tumas meis even if you never went to a funeral, and even if you were never in a funeral home, and even if you were never in a cemetery. But the problem is, anytime you walked over a kever, where you just walk down the streets, you walk in the street, you have no idea if under the street there's someone that was buried, and we know that the tumah goes all the way up out of Rakia. Right, so if you have a dead person that's buried there, it goes up. Now you walk by there, now you're tummy. Right, so all of us, we're all assumed that we're tummy tumas mess. Why do we read Parshas Parah first? The same way, if somebody is working, let's say they fell into some mud or something, right? They can't wait. They can't wait to get into the shower to clean off themselves. They can't wait to do that, right? If you feel like it was a very, very hot day and you were outside all day and you were schwitzing all day, you can't wait to hit the shower. You can't wait to get cleaned up. So to us, we can't wait to get cleaned up from the lichluk, from the impurities of the gullus that we're in. We want to be pure. We're begging HaKadosh Baruch Hu to bring us back to that purity. And that's the kavanah we should have when we're listening to Parshas Parah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu bring us back to the purity. If you read the Yitzris, for most shuls don't do the Yitzris, but you can still look over there. That's what the Yitzris are talking about, to bring us back to that level of purity, the level of purity of that we're waiting for so desperately, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bring us back to that level of purity, and that's why we read Parshas Parah before Parshas Chodesh. And when it comes to Parshas Chodesh, we're already purified. We come in clean. We start the year. We know that the Nisan is the first month of the year. So I want to start Rosh Chodashim, which is Rosh Chodesh Nisan, right? That's Chodesh HaAviv, right? We do all the calendar, everything, all that Nisan, all that Pesach should be able to come in B'Chodesh HaAviv. It has to come in the springtime. That's the whole reason of the calendar comes, and we have Adar Aleph, Adar Beis. Sometimes we do it. So we have to always do that because we want to make sure that Pesach comes in Chodesh Aviv. Okay, we want to make sure that when we come to Pesach, we're purified. We're purified already when we come into the Chodesh, and therefore we read Parshas Parah before we read Parshas HaChodesh. So that helps us understand the idea of the Parah and how beautiful that is to just understand the purity. I want to read with you one thing inside now. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Anything we spoke about so far? Or everything's clear? Everything's clear? We mentioned a lot of things. Everything's okay? Nod of heads is okay. Yeah, okay, good. Okay, so let's look inside here. Torah from Rav Nosson, a beautiful idea on the Parshat Vayakhel Moshe. V'izhirim ha'malachas ha'mishkan. We know that Moshe Rabbeinu gathered us all together. Again, it was only Klal Yisrael. He excluded the Erev Rav. Okay, that's what he gathered up Klal Yisrael, and he told us about the malachas ha'mishkan. Umikoidem is hiram al shmiras Shabbos. But first, Moshe Rabbeinu gave us a warning, a separate warning of shmiras Shabbos, to keep the holy Shabbos. We know without the Shabbos you have nothing. Shabbos is the bracha, mikara brachas of all the week. Everything comes from the holy Shabbos. Lo'hirish meleches mishkan einay doiches Shabbos, to teach us that you would think that the building in the Mishkan is such an important project, It's such an important project to bring the Shekhinah back to Klal Yisrael. So when it comes to that, I would be able to break the Shabbos in order to build it. No. Moshe Rabbeinu teaches the Irish Shamalech of the Mishkan. Einai Doiche Shabbos. K'mei Shama Mesenuzah. V'lechayre Kosher Mehechen Ola Al Das. Shamalech is a Mishkan Doiche Shabbos. Hey, wait a second. Where would I even come up with this idea to think that I would be able to build the Mishkan and break the Shabbos Chashudah? Why would I have even think that? Where would that have come from? Haloi ein shum mitzvah she'ein zemana kavua doiche Shabbos. Isn't it true that any mitzvah that doesn't have a zman kavua, a set time, that it's not doiche Shabbos? For example, we have bris milah, right? Bris milah has a specific time. The Torah says it's on the 8th day. Give the baby the bris on the 8th day, so it's a specific time. So that's because that's a specific time. Therefore, that would be Doiche Shabbos, and we know that when the Moilim can go, they have to prepare, right? They bring their kalim, they bring all of the things that they need, and for the bris milah, they'll bring it before Shabbos because they don't want to carry it, whatever it is that they'll do. They do everything beforehand. But the bris can be done. Why? Because it's a specific time to be done. But the Mishkan, when it comes to the Mishkan, okay, acha inyan ki meleches binyan hamishkan v'kelev zeh bechinas binyan heichal hakodesh. That's building the holy the sanctuary, the holy sanctuary. To bring people closer to Hashem. Ki al yedei binyan hamishkan shorsh hashchina b'Yisrael. We make the Mishkan, so we have the Shekhinah comes to Klal Yisrael. Like we said, like it says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu scattered us around now, but He gave us the Migdash Ma'at, right? So we know every shul we go to is a Beis HaKnesset, so people should come in. We want to increase more Jews to come together, and that's what brings the Shekhinah. We know that whenever 10 Jews together, daven together, 10 people come to a minyan, we have the Shekhinah present over there. That's why it says that if there's 9 people, and you don't get that time that you have to wait to get the 10th person, the Shekhinah is very upset. Hey, you're keeping me away from Klal Yisrael, right? That's why it's so important that the minyan comes on time, because you don't want to upset Chas v'Sholem the Shekhinah. It's a very, very important idea. It helps people make tshuva, the holy, beautiful Mishkan. This Rabbi Nachman's Torah, Nun Tes, lesson 59. Asher Sham Ha'aron, that the Mishkan, the Parah stood in front of the Kaparis, which was the cover on top of the Aron, that had the Kruvim on top of it. Kamai Kei Nivne Mishkan Ve'echal Kodesh Baruchnius Minavshes Yisrael Sheniskavu Hashem Yizbarach Hayedei Moshe Shecheziram B'Tshuva. Moshe Rabbeinu brought us all back to Tshuva, right? Moshe Rabbeinu, we were guilty of the sin like we spoke about of the golden calf. Moshe Rabbeinu convinced HaKadosh Baruch Hu to forgive us. Moshe Rabbeinu brought us back to tshuva. That's why we all came with our nedavos, because we felt so we felt so indebted to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that we fell so low. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu forgave us. That's why He brought it all in. When you bring people back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when you bring anyone back, that's the greatest thing. Kirav Rechaikim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants the Rechaikim to come back. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants every Jew to make tshuva. Ki zeh ikar gedulasa yikvayde shel Hashem yisbarach she'arechaikim b'yoseh niskar v'meila. Those that are very, very distant, they come closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu appreciates more than anything. K'moshe muvasham b'Torah. Anal Mama Azoyah Kodesh Kad Osi Yisroi Kedenis Yaakov Yis Ale Shemoi Kutchabrichu Eila V'Sator. HaKadosh Baruch Hu appreciated so much that Yisroi was a galach. Yisroi was the Kohen Midyan. Yisroi was Kohen Midyan. He knew every Avodah Zarah. But Yisroi came and he became part of Klal Yisrael. He was Megai, he became part of Klal Yisrael. That was so special What that's doing, what that does is it gives HaKadosh Baruch Hu so much yakar up on high and down here, of course, right? The Mama Zoya Kad also Yisrael Kedain in order is Yaakov Yisale that HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name would be so beloved. V'Yisale will go up. Shmai Dekuch Brichol Leila V'Satoah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be praised up on high and down. K'may Shekosav B'Zoya Kodesh Oid B'Kama Mekoyma Zaka Mon the Ached B'Yoda the Chayeva V'Zeh Esik Shel Binyan Heichel HaKodesh. How wonderful is that? That brings back those that are Rishoyim, and he brings them back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How special that is when they come back to Hashem. Yinafshes Yisrael miskarvim al yodai la Hashem yitbarach shu bechinas binyan hamishkan. That's the idea of binyan hamishkan. We have the idea of bilvavi mishkan evna. Right? Everybody. It says osuli migdash v'shachanti b'soich cham b'soich kol echad mechem. In other words, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that yes, build to me a migdash and I'll dwell amongst all of you. What does it mean I'll dwell amongst all of you? He build me a migdash, I'll dwell in the migdash. No, it says amongst amongst them. That really everyone should make a mishkan in their heart. Everyone should invite HaKadosh Baruch Hu into their heart. That's what it really means, that we are supposed to make that into our heart. Shabbat, you understand that? In order to make the Mishkan in our heart. Hashem Shuhu Bechinas Binyan Mishkan. So there Bechinas Shmira Shabbos, K'may Shekosav B'Torah Mamar Hazoyeh Shabsoisei Tishmaru Da Ikula V'Ribuya Dilgoy. Ayin sham heitiv al kein oya oila al adash shemaleches hamishkan u'doiches Shabbos. Also, I would have thought. Now, here, go answer the question. I would have thought that look how important this is. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to bring back the Rechaikim. Oh, the Mishkan is going to help bring back the Rechaikim. It's going to help bring back those that were distant from Hashem. The Hashem bring them back to Tshuva. So I would thought, okay, but that's the whole purpose. So of course that'll go over Shabbos. So the Torah tells us no. That is Shmira Shabbos, because then you'll get people to keep the Shabbos. Right? Bechina says Shabsai Tishmaru Al Kein Iziru Hashem Yisbarach Mikaydem Al Shmiras Shabbos. Therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Moshe Rabbeinu, tell them about Shabbos. No, even though this is so important, but Shabbos is still Shabbos, and it doesn't break the Shabbos. Even though you would think that, wow, this is the greatest thing. Hakein Iziranu Hashem Yisbarach Mikaydem Al Shmiras B'chol Makim She'izah Maleches HaMishkan Hizim Mikaydem Al Shabbos. Every time HaKadosh Baruch Hu speaks about the Meleches HaMishkan, the building in the Mishkan, first he introduces the idea, you don't do this on Shabbos. The Shabbos is Kodesh Kedoshim. And we have to appreciate the Shabbos. Let us appreciate the Shabbos. We know that the Chazal, we know that the Tanoim, how Shabbos was so special for them. They worked all week to prepare for the Shabbos. All of the time, they all prepared to come to the Shabbos. That we can just appreciate the Shabbos when the Shabbos comes in with the Kedusha and the Tahara. Right? Last week was an amazing thing. Last Erev Shabbos was also Purim, right? It was Purim, right? There was the only day of the year. That's the only time that you can have a chiyuv to read 2 Megillas in one day, right? You have a chiyuv to read 2 Megillas, right? In the morning we read Megillas Esther, and in the afternoon we read the Shira Shirim, right? People have a minute Erev Shabbos to read Shira Shirim. So those that read Shira Shirim last week had an opportunity to read 2 Megillas on one Shabbos. Amazing idea, unbelievable. That only happens on the time when Purim is on an Erev Shabbos and you have the Purim Mishulish. Okay, so these are the ideas we came up with this Shabbos. We should mamish appreciate the Shabbos, okay, and do whatever you can to appreciate the Shabbos, and never Chalila, do what you can to bring in the Shabbos a little early and then keep the Shabbos a little later. It says Zocher es Yom Shabbos, Shomer es Yom Shabbos. Zocher es Yom Shabbos means remember the Shabbos. It's not Shabbos yet, so I'm going to bring in the Shabbos. I remember the Shabbos, I bring it a little earlier. They tell you candles is 6 o'clock, so I bring in Shabbos 10 to 6. I bring it a little earlier. Zocher es Yom Shabbos, remember the Shabbos. Shomer es Yom Shabbos, when they tell you Shabbos is over at 6:15. So you know what I do? I'll keep Shabbos to 6:25. Shabbos, I'm shomer, I'm watching it. I'm not letting you go. I keep the Shabbos a little longer. That's Shomer es Yom Shabbos. And this is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because Shabbos brings us all the brachas Hilah, birchas Tatah, the brachas of on high and down in this world. Let us all enjoy the holy Shabbos. This week is Shabbos Parah. Remember when you're listening to the Torah, remember you beg HaKadosh Baruch Hu, let us have that Parah Aduma so we can be cleaned up from the lichluch, from the impurity of the gullus, that we're all so sullied by the gullus. HaKadosh Baruch Hu should clean us up by the Parah Aduma. And I wish everyone should have a wonderful Shabbos. Thank everyone for listening and all our listeners. And I wish you all kol tov.